We begin tonight with one of the most iconic heists of the 20th century, the Great Train Robbery of 1963, when a group of at least 12 men robbed a British mail train heading from Glasgow to London. They struck at 3 a.m., manipulating the train signals and cutting railway telephone wires, boarding the train with clubs and iron bars, smashing windows, you name it, and then escaping with a staggering £2.6 million, equivalent to $70 million today. The armed robbery would spawn books and TV shows. There was Prison Time and Fugitives, even an anonymous insider, and a massive manhunt for the robbers, which included Ronnie Biggs, who underwent plastic surgery in Paris after escaping from prison to escape capture. It became known as the heist of the century. It was big. But what we are seeing now is bigger and even more audacious. And it is happening right now in plain sight. It's an open-air bank robbery, this time by the super rich, who are already even richer from Trump's win. Here's the Bloomberg Billionaires Index. The morning after the election, it's a daily ranking of the world's richest people. Among the top 10, and these names will sound very familiar, Elon Musk, ranked the world's richest person, is the biggest gainer. His wealth jumped by a whopping $26.5 billion. Amazon founder Jeff Bezos was another top gainer. His wealth grew by $7.1 billion. It's the biggest daily increase since Bloomberg's wealth index began in 2012. Collectively, Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, and their top 10 ultra-rich friends added $64 billion to their fortunes. Kind of makes sense now, doesn't it? Why some of them didn't endorse a candidate this year, despite supporting Democratic candidates and causes in the past, or why Bezos defended his decision to withhold the Washington Post's endorsement of Vice President Kamala Harris. And it also makes sense why Elon Musk, who has arguably done more than anyone to help elect Trump, put in more than $75 million right into MAGA coffers and basically bought Twitter to turn it into a right-wing propaganda loudspeaker, the loudest on the internet, in fact. Turns out, Trump's promise to make America great again is simply a cover for his and his billionaire buddies' plot to turn us into an oligarchy, ushering in an era of extreme deregulation, laws that keep big business in the driver's seat and labor in the back, tax cuts for the rich and the super rich, and privatizing everything from education to healthcare, so that big corporations can charge you for all of it and go from billionaires to trillionaires, all backed by the most pro-rich, pro-corporate Supreme Court in history, literally constructed by Leonard Leo and the Heritage Foundation, a court that will probably boast 2 new young members when Clarence and Alito inevitably step down on lifetime paid vacation starting on January 20, 2025, which maybe we should rename Money Train Day, instead of Inauguration Day, be more accurate. And America's new oligarchs did all of this by lying to working class people of color and getting them to fight each other out here in these social media streets and ignore the real bad guys, the oldest tactic of white supremacy, where working people are scrapping it out for a piece of the pie, while the rich eat the whole entire pie and laugh all the way to the bank. Oh, and by the way, the people who will suffer include many of the people who voted for Trump, hoping he'd toss them some coins. But you know what? The joke's on them too. Fueled by disinformation, racism, misogyny, apathy, ignorance, and in some cases, just plain economic desperation, America opened the bank vault and let the robbers in. It's the greatest heist in history, brought to you by Trump and our new ruling oligarch class.
Welcome to Let It Be Known, and it's always a good morning to start off with joy. Just speaking the truth. And we see that these unserious cabinet picks, I mean, they are so unserious. Fox News personalities are going to be put into roles of great importance. Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy also put into roles of importance. We talked a little bit about it yesterday with Barrington. Just so unserious because it's not. It's just not about uh, the traditional things. It's just not about it. She broke it down. This is all about. See, the thing is, rich people, wealthy people, many um, they can't get enough. So, like you said, billionaires to trillionaires. What's the difference? What is the difference? Mike B says, if you elect a clown, expect a circus. Um, Well, this morning, among other things, we'll be joined by Kimberly Alexander, who is a resilient advocate whose life was profoundly shaped by an unexpected battle with multiple myeloma, a rare and aggressive blood cancer. Her late husband, former NFL player Elijah Alexander, was diagnosed at just 34 years old and revealed some startling health disparities in the process. Black individuals are twice as likely to face this diagnosis, and young Black men are at particularly high risk. We're going to talk about multiple myeloma, something that um, we all need to know about. Certainly something that hit home with my family personally. So looking forward to that discussion. A few things first, though. The As Congress prepares to finalize its leadership in both chambers, the fate of health insurance subsidies for millions of Americans hangs in the balance. Joanne Reed talked about the swindle. Well, what else are you going to pay under this particular administration? Well, essentially, as Republicans move toward wresting control of the House, along with their victories at the White House, their takeover of the Senate and the Supreme Court, the Affordable Care Act will likely meet its end. In 2024, enrollment in the ACA, this is just to show you just how important healthcare and the ACA or Obamacare has been to not just some people, but just about all people, with over 45 million nationwide enrolled in ACA related coverage, which was a 46% increase this year over or since 2021, and more than three times the enrollment since the early years of the Affordable Care Act in 2014. And some of the strategies to consider when you're thinking about healthcare, because they're going to take away the subsidies, right? And the subsidies, if you are familiar, they allow you to pick plans suitable that to you. Many people have pre-existing conditions, and those plans may have a premium of say $2,000 a month, but subsidies in some cases take that cost all the way down to $0 a month, and they're going to. There's no if ands or buts about it. 2025, the subsidies end. So this will be the last year of the subsidies, which, if you recall, the incoming president during his last term continued to peck away at these subsidies, continued to peck away at these subsidies, and he didn't and wasn't able to totally eliminate it and eliminate Obamacare in itself because you had um, the Democrats controlling one of the houses. Now they will not control none of the houses. They will not. Certainly, the Supreme Court is already in the pocket of the former president, and so that is that is a foregone conclusion. But some strategies to consider. We don't want it to be all doom and gloom. Some of the strategies to consider. You should stay informed on legislative developments, folks. You got to keep up with congressional decisions and health policy discussions. Keep up with those discussions, particularly concerning the Affordable Care Act. There are advocacy groups, news outlets, and local community organizations that often track legislative changes, and they can provide you updates on upcoming, not incoming, upcoming reforms or potential or alternatives if and when we should say ACA subsidies are removed next year. You also really encouraged to seek community health resources. Many communities offer health services on a sliding scale or even free of charge. Health clinics, nonprofits, and local health departments can sometimes help bridge the gap by offering some basic health care, preventative screenings, and even some prescription assistance. I know that, for instance, if you're taking a drug like Humira, which is a shot, um, Humira itself, the drug maker itself, offers um, co-pays as low as $5 for a shot that costs $2,000 per shot or more. You could also explore state-based programs. Some states may have their own health insurance subsidies or marketplaces that could offer alternatives if the federal ACA subsidies are removed. States like California and New York, for example, have robust health exchange programs with additional state funding. And you have to understand your state's offerings um, are pretty crucial because some could offer even more affordable care options. Um, Many professionals or experts say that it might be a good idea to join health advocacy organizations like the Black Women's Health Imperative, which advocates for health equity, and they could be pretty valuable allies at this point. They may also provide guidance on navigating policy changes and support for those affecting or affected by cuts to health subsidies. And also, you can consider short term or alternative health plans. These options don't replace comprehensive coverage. Some short term insurance plans can provide limited benefits for unforeseen medical expenses. And be sure to thoroughly research the plans. And there's also employer based coverage, which we see dropping constantly. And so these are various things to look at, folks. These are critical times, and so we intend to try and provide you with as much information to help as possible. Um, and that's the other thing with the outgoing administration. The Biden-Harris administration did cap insulin at $35. Well, uh, this new administration said hit the bricks with that. There, go back to paying the thousands of dollars that it costs. So we'll be bringing you as often as possible some information on how to navigate the various things that are coming down the pike, and also as they are happening. So stay tuned to let it be known for some guidance, particularly for the marginalized communities, and um, because it's going to be a lot. It's going to be a lot. Also, this morning, New York City Mayor Eric Adams has asked a federal judge to move up his criminal trial to better accommodate a run for re-election next year. The mayor's attorney, Alex Spiro, wrote a letter to Judge Dale Ho seeking to begin the mayor's trial on bribery and straw donation allegations 3 weeks earlier than the current start date of April the 21st. Adams is confident that he can beat these charges in time to be um, reelected. And so he is saying that an earlier trial date will ensure that he will be able to fully participate in his campaign and not be a distraction to voters. So he's planning to run in the primary on June 24th, with early voting scheduled to begin on June the 14th. So, in order to cut down on pretrial procedures, the mayor's attorney offered to waive the opportunity to seek additional discovery materials. And that's a very unusual move, um, which he is showing not only confidence, but some say a little arrogance there. But additionally, according to multiple outlets in New York who cover the mayor, he's been playing very, very nice and making very nice with the incoming president. These are federal charges, and um, he's begun to align himself with Donald Trump, who, of course, was convicted on 34 felony counts in New York. And his inner circle believes that this will bode well for his chances in court. The mayor had they pointed out that he has studiously avoided criticizing Trump during the campaign, and of course, Trump has spoken sympathetically about the mayor. So something is certainly going on there. I guess the mayor is saying, "Listen, whatever it takes to stay out of prison, he's gonna do," and that includes this Democrat aligning with a MAGA Republican chief. In case you missed it, folks, renowned dancer and choreographer Judith Jamison, who led the Alvin Ailey Dance Theater for 2 decades or more than 2 decades, died over the weekend. Jamison's death happened at New York Presbyterian Medical Center after she suffered from a brief illness, according to her publicist. They say in a statement, the publicist Christopher Zuna says, "We remember and are grateful for her artistry, humanity, and incredible light, which inspired us all." She was born on May 10th, 1943, in Philadelphia, and she discovered her love for dance early on, beginning lessons at age 6 at the Judimar School of Dance in her hometown. She was encouraged initially to study the piano and violin, but she gravitated toward ballet and later training under African American dance pioneer Catherine Dunham. She attended Germantown High School and briefly enrolled at Fisk University before dedicating herself to dance studies at the Philadelphia Dance Academy. She joined the Alvin Ailey American Dance Theater in 1965, and Judith quickly became a celebrated figure in modern dance when few Black women held prominence in that field. Her defining moment, of course, came in 1971 with the premiere of Cry, a 17-minute solo created by Alvin Ailey as a tribute to all Black women everywhere, especially our mothers, is what Alvin Ailey said. The piece became a hallmark of the Ailey troupe, and it earned Judith international acclaim. Alvin Ailey himself later wrote of Judith's performance with Cry. He said she became herself once she found uh, this contact, this release. She poured her being into everybody who came to see her perform. In addition to her iconic work with Alvin Ailey, Jameson performed with global ballet companies, including the San Francisco Ballet, the Swedish Royal Ballet, and the Vienna State Ballet. And she even graced the Broadway stage in Sophisticated Ladies alongside Gregory Hines. She started choreographing in the 1980s, and she really won acclaim for that as well. Well rounded, incredible artist. Judith received so many honors, including the National Medal of Arts and a Kennedy Center honor. She is an amazing talent, and certainly a trailblazer. Dr. Nicole says, "Let us also commend the Cosby Show for introducing us to artists such as Judith before we could even know or appreciate who they were. At least I know I didn't back then." Right, right, exactly. Judith Jameson, what a successful career, what a life. And she once reflected on her role as Alvin Ailey's successor. She says, "I felt prepared to carry the company forward. Alvin and I were like parts of the same tree. He, the roots, and the trunk, and we were the branches. I was his muse. We were all his muses." Judith Jameson. It's an interesting thing I wanted to mention before our guest arrives. We'll talk about this. Yes, Cheryl Brown says, "A true Black queen and legend." This came to mind because I was looking at this story this week, Britney Spears will pay the last amount of her child support to her ex and spousal support, and for a long time, the common perception has been that men are the ones who end up with these financial obligations after a divorce or split up. But in this new era, we're seeing more successful, high earning women stepping into that role. It's happening more often than you might think, especially in high profile cases. Um, so imagine this: you're at the top of your career, and after the divorce, you're writing checks to support an ex. From Britney Spears, who's about to close the checkbook for the last time, to Halle Berry, who's been vocal about her frustration. We're seeing that it's no longer just a man's world when it comes to support payments. So, what does this mean for gender roles? Is this true equality, or does it feel like an unfair twist on traditional expectations? Like I would love to hear you guys's feedback, because for decades the expectation was that men paid spousal or child support. We see folks like Janet Jackson paying spousal and child support. Um, we're seeing, like we said, Halle Berry paying spousal and child support. And of course, Britney Spears was paying $20,000 a month to Kevin Federline. So we're seeing that with Halle Berry, 16,000 a month in support to her ex, Gabriel Aubrey. Um, some thoughts. Mary J. Blige is another one. Madonna also had to pay Guy Ritchie about $75 million in their divorce. So, what do you think? Is this the ultimate sign of equality, or do you feel like Halle Berry that something's still a bit off? We want to hear from you about this. Um, it is something to sip your tea on. In my case, coffee. Orangey says Mary J is still paying that bum. I would just take my L or pull an OJ. Come on now. Come on now. Wendy Williams. See, I mean, really. So you guys are pointing out who else is paying, but what do you think? And it's not just celebrities. Women in business, sports, and more are finding themselves in this position. Um, so for some, it's about holding everyone accountable equally. If a person has the higher income, maybe they should be responsible for support, period. But for others, there's still a mental shift needed to accept that women paying their ex-husbands as the norm. Are there still double standards? Michelle Madison said the question should be, who takes care of the children 80% of the time? Well, in some cases, they're not children involved. There's not minor children involved. In some cases, it's just spousal support. Um, I don't know. How do you feel about that? Because as men, we try to be the macho ones, and so this is probably going to sound a little macho or chauvinistic or whatever. But we're done. I'm not going to look for you to support me. We're done, right? And people say, well, it should work both ways. Well, I don't know. There's something about that. I mean, I'm not for paying some spousal support either, but you know what? Sometimes you're gonna have to. And certainly, if there are children involved, you definitely got to pay. You got to do more than just pay child support, right? You got to be a part of that child's life. Um, you hear so much today about this. Oh, we're co-parenting and stuff like that. Well, and then there are some. I met someone at the DNC, in fact, and I mean, I'm not going to tell who she is, unless she decides to come on one day and talk about it. But beautiful, beautiful young Black woman who said that she chose to be a single mom. That was her choice. She wanted to be a single mom, and she has a beautiful, beautiful daughter too. And she posts some of
So when
the.
I was getting a divorce, I was like, you mean to tell me I got to pay him? And he cheated and he lied and he stole and not to get all petty, but you know what I'm saying? You mean I got to pay him for cheating and lying to me and ruining my life?
About that. And I was, and as I was saying, the young lady says she chose to be a single mom. She wanted a child, and I guess the individual that she had the child with agreed. And oh boy, folks, we are back. Glad to see you still there. Some major technical problems came up. Maybe it was the algorithm. Who knows? Maybe they didn't like us talking about uh, spousal support and child support and stuff like that. I don't know. I don't know. But um, they shut us down for a while there, and we apologize for that inconvenience. I know that many are expecting better, and we so do we, so do we. Um, so we will we will try to make sure that we work these things out. But it just happened. It just happened without warning, um, and so uh, we uh, we move forward. RNG says he wants a six pack of OE. You still drink that, man? Six pack of OE. My brother was laughing about that recently, that they had found a whole 64 ounce of OE they hadn't seen since forever. Um, so with that, folks, I believe we may have lost our guest for today because of those uh, technical situations there. Checking now to see if she's still uh, joining us or still with us, I should say. Um, so hopefully hopefully, she's still with us. But we were talking about uh, Mike V says Trump did put Vivek and Elon in a make-believe cabinet. Yeah, they are creating positions. I thought they were supposed to drain the swamp. But we were talking about, and I still wanted you guys and Orangey, and I still wanted you guys to chime in. Tell me what you think about spousal support as far as these men paying, these women paying these men. Um, we talked about Britney Spears and Halle Berry and Mary J. Blige and Madonna and uh, Wendy Williams and others. What are your thoughts on that? As we're definitely gonna reschedule the discussion on multiple myeloma. Um, it's such an important one. We don't want it to be abbreviated, and so we certainly want to be able to have a robust discussion there to bring you the information that is vital, especially to Black community, Black and Brown community. We think it's a topic that, unfortunately, like many, um, although it primarily affects African Americans and African American men. Um, it's something that is not talked about enough. We hear of other types of cancers, and certainly when it comes to cancer itself, you can't talk about it enough. But this is one that we certainly have not been able to really get into the intricacies of, and something that we really should do because it affects so many, particularly Black men. And we always talk about the health of Black men and women, but um, this is one part of that we need to really dive further into, and so we intend to do that. RNG says he's not a fan of spousal support. Child support is for deadbeats. Well, let's make sure we are differentiating it though. Spousal support is one thing, child support is the other thing. Um, children did not ask to be a part of your marriage. They were they probably was a result of your marriage or your union of somehow. But they didn't ask to be a part of that. And you owe it to you, even though you want to charge all of that student loan interest orangey to your child. The child support is different. But we again, the health disparities and stigmas we want to get into, and we will be getting into during a later broadcast. We definitely want to do that for you because we think it's extremely, extremely important that we do, and we will. We definitely, definitely will. Coming up tomorrow, though, we do have something else for you tomorrow. A really, really good show planned. Dana Frank, who is the niece of the late great Quincy Jones, is expected to join us tomorrow, and Dana is expected to reflect on the profound legacy that Quincy leaves behind. And Dana is also the best-selling author of Get Up and Get It on a Black Entrepreneur's Lessons on Creating Legacy and Wealth. So we're going to have all of that discussions tomorrow with Dana Frank, the niece of Quincy Jones. So join us tomorrow, and we'll try and relieve all these other, see what StreamYard has to say about how they failed us big time today. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you tomorrow.